Yesterday's reporting in the New York Times we find to be a bombshell as it relates to information around the Epstein case. For the very first time, we have the Vice President of the United States, who we now know has been involved in directing strategy on this massive cover-up from the Situation Room. The top administration officials, the Vice President, the White House Chief of Staff, the Director of the FBI, the Attorney General, top communications staff are sitting around the Situation Room planning strategy on how to cover up the Epstein Files. They're talking strategy on how to ensure that Donald Trump is not accused of anything, that his name does not appear. They're talking strategy on how to possibly get Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon or what that would look like. They are actually the Vice President suggested that Tucker Carlson should interview Ghislaine Maxwell to exonerate Donald Trump. This is for us. We now know that the Vice President and Vice President Vance has been directly involved in this massive cover-up. So for us, that is critical information. And we're going to be asking James Comer, we've done it already, but we're going to be asking formally here in the next day. We have to speak to Vice President Vance. We have to speak to Susie, Wiles. We have to speak to Kash, Patel, because they are having meetings in the Situation Room about covering up the Epstein Files and protecting Donald Trump. And so this is, to us, a huge smoking gun as it relates to what the Vice President is doing in the Situation Room. Any other questions about this topic?
You don't think that those are privileged questions or privileged conversations?
Do you think it's possible to get Todd Blanche under oath in the way you envision?
Well, look, first, Todd Blanche, James Comer has already agreed to bring in Todd Blanche, so even if we have to do a subpoena, he should be under oath, and it has to be done in a way that's public and that's videotaped and released to the public. As it relates to privileged conversations, look, we have reporting now, I think pretty substantial reporting, that the Vice President is leading meetings in the Situation Room about the Epstein Files. So they have a responsibility to come forward and explain to us why the hell that's happening and why they're strategizing about Ghislaine Maxwell. And then after the strategy session, Todd Blanchard goes to meet with her, and then they're talking about even things like a pardon in the Situation Room. The Situation Room is designed for national security crisis, and they're having, and JD Vance is convening meetings in that room. And so it's really concerning, and I think the Vice President now has a lot of questions to answer.
What makes you think, though, you're going to get compliance from the administration, or is this something you're going to have to table if you win the majority this fall?
Oh, well, you better best believe that if we don't get compliance, by the time we win the majority, we're going to be going after all of the answers as it relates to the administration. I think right now, what's important for people to understand is that when the American public, the Epstein issue is the most bipartisan issue in the country. Both Republicans and Democrats agree that there's got to be a full release and disclosure. You have now the Vice President and others talking about, Bongino talking about this is a slap in the face to the base of the Republican Party. So I think the Vice President has a lot to answer for as to why he's sitting in the Situation Room and discussing strategy about Ghislaine Maxwell to exonerate the President. And he has a responsibility to his base, and he has a responsibility to the American public to make that explanation. Any other final questions?
Just did the conversation with Bill Gates yesterday open up any ideas to bring anybody else in?
Well, Bill Gates did share some names that we found interesting within the Gates Foundation, kind of world, but also, look, I think one name that he brought up that keeps coming up is Larry Summers. There's clearly a much stronger relationship there between Mr. Summers and Epstein than even I thought. But I think that Mr. Gates confirmed that. I think that's someone we're going to need to talk to pretty soon.
All right.
Did you have any final questions?
You all are going to be leaving town without reauthorizing FISA. Does this present a national security issue?
Well, Donald Trump shouldn't be nominating Pulte to lead such an important agency around national security. So there's obviously a lot of work there to do still. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.